Hello again. So we are rounding the bend here for this class. We have a few more classes left, but we have completed essentially the floor plans for this set of drawings that we're going to complete. There is one more floor plan to do that I will include in one of the last classes as just a little bit of review. So you don't forget those skills. It's a little refresher right at the end of the course. So in today's class, we're going to have a series of videos covering a few smaller topics. No big topic here. Instead, just some miscellaneous topics to cover things that didn't fit elsewhere, but also at the end of that we're going to talk about and create elevations, small elevations of the bathroom and kitchen. So let's see, we'll start with just reviewing where we're at. Right now, you should have in model space a bunch of drawings overlapping one another. Okay, obviously you wouldn't print this out this way without expecting to get some very confused people looking at it. But as you know, we created these tabs down below that will help us separate all that information into separate drawings. So today, the first thing we want to do is create title blocks, and so we can identify the drawing while we're in paper space, and also we're going to complete the drawings by adding room tags in all of the plans. Right now we only have room tags in the architectural plan. In the furniture plan, we don't have them, or in the power plan and RCP. So first, let's just jump right in and do the title block. Now, the title block is the area on the sheet of paper that you print out that includes all of the necessary identifying information for the project, for this particular sheet. It includes the dates on which that particular set has been issued, and all previous dates that the set was issued on. So it's incorporated into a border on for the whole sheet, and usually occupies the right hand side, either the full height of the drawing that we're going to do, or in larger sheets I usually just occupy the lower right hand corner of the sheet, so it doesn't take up too much space. It's something that always resides in paper space, because that's what you're going to print out, and you only need to see it when you print it out. So we have right now a piece of paper that's 11 by 17. Just as a reminder, this dashed line is the printable area, so you will want to have your title block in border within that dashed line. This solid line here is the viewport. So that can pretty much go anywhere because we have it on the def points layer, so it doesn't print. Okay, I believe there is a layer that oh, here it is, title block border. We're going to start with this. So I'm going to make that layer current, title block border. It's a red layer, which I usually have as a pretty thick line. Let's see, layer property manager, title block border, 0.5. So that's a thick line for the border of this sheet. I could use the distance command over here to measure what the distance is between this dashed line, say, and the next one up here, and it's roughly 10.5. About just under 10.25. So yeah, that's right. 10.75 rather. It's a little bit more than 10.75. So what we want to do is make sure that our title block is smaller than that printable area, obviously. If it's too big, you won't see it. Now, some people might just do this then and draw a rectangle just inside the printable area. That would work if you're printing out always using your defaults. My defaults use Adobe PDF as the printer, but what you'll find is of the many different printers or print to file programs that you might have, even this one, where is it, DWG to PDF, this one that comes automatically with AutoCAD, even that one has different standards, has different characteristics. So the printable area is likely different in this printer, you can talk about it like that, than with this one, which is the one that I as the default. So my point is that you don't want to tailor your printing just to one plotter. If you go right up to it, this actually is a very narrow printable area margin. So if you go right up to it, it's very likely that in other printers that you or maybe your consultants use, you might not get the whole title block, which isn't the worst thing in the world. It's just annoying, but it could actually also happen that somebody goes to print this drawing, they see that it doesn't fit on the piece of paper because the border does not fit within the printable area of that printer that they're trying to use, so they shrink it to fit. Well, then if they do that, the drawing is no longer to scale, so you don't want to do that. So overall, what you want to do is make sure that this border is not at the maximum size. So I measured before and noticed and concluded that if our border is 1'4" by 10.5", we should be in good shape. So I'm just going to go close by the lower left hand corner and type in 1'4", comma 10.5. So you'll see that it's closer to the bottom than it is the top, and it's closer to the right than it is to the left. Well, I'm going to adjust it a little bit. First, I'm going to adjust just manually, because there's no other way to do it, so that the border I just drew is roughly equal on the top as it is on the bottom. If I need to zoom in a little bit, I'll do that. Looks pretty equal. Now, from left to right, you would think I would want to center it, but I don't. What I'm going to do is move the title block. I've just highlighted the title block. Move it to the right a little bit so that this margin here is equivalent to this margin here, which is about 1/4 inch. I wouldn't go any less than 1/4 inch from the side of the piece of paper, at least for an 11 by 17. On the larger sheets that we use a 1/2 inch. Now what you'll see is that there's a wide margin at the left hand side. That you want, because when these drawings are stapled together along that margin, you want there to be just blank paper there, not drawings that will be hidden away in the crease of the drawings, in the crease of the set. So there it is, my 1'4" by 10.5 inch border. Okay, now it's time to put in the title block itself on the right hand side. We're going to make it 1 inch wide, then we're going to break it up into smaller parts. So I'm going to, still on the title block border layer, I'm going to click on line, scroll down to the corner here, drag to the left, but I don't click on the corner. I drag to the left using polar tracking, and I type in 1, enter. So my line starts 1 inch over, and I go all the way up to the top here. Now I can do the same thing because I want a 1 inch by 1 inch corner here. Now I could do the same thing where I hold my cursor here but don't click, drag up, type in 1, enter, and come across here. Or since we have our angle set at 45 degrees, I could track on a 45-degree angle, get that corner, and drag to the left. Now I only show you that because that comes in handy often to use polar tracking on a 45-degree angle, but you have to make sure that your settings are correct. And one of them, if I right click down here and then left click on that, actually it's under polar tracking, you have to make sure that you have this setting done, selected. Object snap tracking settings, and it says track using all polar angles. Okay. Anyway, so we have a 1 inch square down there. Next we need a 3 inch section. So I'm going to hold my cursor there, starting the line command, hold my cursor there, drag up, type in 3, and then next, let's see, what do we have left over here? 6.5. So I'm going to go 3 1/4 inches up to split that remaining space in half. So I hold my cursor there, drag up, and type in 3.25. 3.25 inches, 3 1/4, and do that. All right. Now this title block will have information in this lower right hand corner. That's going to be the sheet number. Then this is going to be the sheet name. That'll be the name of the drawing. And then this will be the firm information. And up here we'll have dates and issue dates and names. Okay, so starting down here, I'm going to change my layer to title block text. And right here I'm going to have my my title block text. It's going to be tall letters, so I think I'll use 1/4 inch, and I'll start with the text command here. I'm going to do it off to the side first just because it's a little easier. I can't really place it in the right spot in one go. So I'll click one corner of the text window, and before I click the other side, I'm going to type in H, enter for height, and type in the height of let's see, 0.25, 1/4 inch. And then then justification. You see one of the options down here is to justify. So I'm going to click on that and choose middle center. You always want to use middle center when you want your text to be in the middle of this of any space, whether it's a circle, square, symbol, whatever it is. So this is going to be it's going to be all caps, A1. Now I'm going to select that, choose the grip here, and I can use O-Track to place it right in the middle here. So the reason why we make this middle center justified, obviously, is because if it's A12 instead of A1, it's still centered. If it's A123, it's still centered. But it is A1, and that it will remain. Now up here, we want, in the middle of this drawing, we want the name of the drawing written vertically, right? So the text is going to be rotated 90 degrees. So I'm going to start the text command again. This is going to be 1/8 inch high text, and since the text is gray here and the background is gray, you don't see it here. So I'm going to do my little temporary window over here. I'm going to click once, and before I click the other corner of the text window, I'm going to type in H, enter, and 1/8. You notice sometimes I use decimal, sometimes I use fraction. It doesn't matter, whatever comes to you first. Then instead of typing H for height, I can type in R for rotation, or I can click right here. R, enter. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, or just hold it in the direction I want to go. That's 90. And there's my text. I'm going to change the justification also. So I'm going to type in J, enter. And I want it to be middle left, the middle left of this text. Well, actually, no, what? I'm going to use middle center. I'll have it centered right in the middle of that box. All right. So this is going to be architectural plan. I'm going to increase the margins of this like that. So now, in order to place this exactly in the center, probably the easiest and fastest way to do it right now is to have a temporary line. The midpoint of that line is where that insertion point needs to go. So I highlight that, click on it, click on that grip, and place it in that midpoint. Okay, the next here will be your information. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to copy this and move it there to the center of that space. And this, I want you to come up with whatever you want. Your name should be in here so that I know whose drawings I'm looking at. But you can come up with a company name, maybe Diaz Interiors, something like that. I don't want it to be bulleted. It thinks that I want to start a list, A, B, C. So, and you could put other information there. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, Broadway, New York, New York. How about that? Okay. There's my address. And then up here, let's see, how are we going to do this? Okay, I'm going to actually add some other lines, light lines though, title block border light. I'm going to keep a 1-inch square on the top. Then I'm going to use the divide command and divide this into 4 equal spaces. Erase those dots. That is 2 1/4. So I'm going to copy this 3/4 of an inch over. All right, the exact dimensions don't matter all that much, but it should make sense. And the reason, what I'm doing here is I'm creating a grid here for issue dates. So let me get the text here, and then you'll see what I'm getting at. Title block text. This will be 3/32. So I'm going to start my text window here. Set the height at 3/32. Notice that when I insert text in paper space, it's true dimension, right? Because when this piece of paper here is a 11 by 17 piece of paper, and I'm going to print out an 11 by 17 paper. So if I want my text to be 3/32 of an inch high, then I got to make it 3/32 of an inch high. I don't need to scale it up, in other words. So now I'm going to make this text, let's see, date. Okay, and I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to copy it right here. Notice which base point I use. So now the margin for both those bits of text are the same. This, I'm going to type in issue. So what we do when we submit drawings to the client or to the Department of Buildings, we give it a date and an issue. So it might be, let's see, 4/7/17. Did I say 7? And the issue date is, the issue is for owner review. Right. Now in this final square, you can put some decorative element, a logo, whatever you want to create. In a near future class, we're going to learn how to manipulate images in AutoCAD, so you might want to put a square image in there sometime. That's up to you. You can leave it blank if you want. Okay, so now we have this. Let's look at the print preview, see how it looks. So I go right to print, and all my standards are waiting for me. So I hit preview, and it looks pretty good. There's my plan, and there's my issue date, my company information, and the architectural plan. So that's great. That looks good. Next, I need to do it for all the rest of these. Now, if I had some foresight in this, and if this class were structured a little differently, what I might have done is waited to create all of these tabs until this point, because then all I'd have to do once I got this done, I could just do a save as and create this tab that would already have its title block in it. But of course I couldn't do that because we have to do things in a certain order here. But it doesn't matter. It's very easy to make copies. So this works very much like copy paste in any other programs. You can choose copy clip here. And create and select all of this, but you're going to want to remove from this selection set. See, I just selected the border and the viewport. So I'm going to type in R, enter, and remove the viewport. And now I have the title block in my clipboard. Then I can go to Furniture and go to Paste, and there it is. Now the key is, it's hard to figure out exactly where to place it. It's more by eye. Here we go. Oops. That looks pretty good. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then I just make my edits here. A1 becomes A2. Architectural plan becomes furniture plan, and the rest pretty much stays the same. Now what I could also do is this. I could, instead of using copy clip, which is up here, whoops, and you can also see next to the words copy clip, in parentheses, it says Control C. Of course, you know you can use Control C. But if you use Shift Control C, it's copy clip with a base point. So you can select a base point. I'm going to select a point here. Now it's not going to O-snap to it because you can't O-snap to paper. But I'm going to get real close to that lower left-hand corner, like that. And then I'm going to select this title block and border. Notice I didn't select the viewport this time because I used the crossing window over here. Then I hit enter because I'm done selecting the objects. Then I can go to the power plan and type in click paste or Control V. So I click on paste, and then all I need to do is click close to that lower left hand corner, and it's going to be exactly in the right spot. So A3, this becomes the power plan, and that's done. Next, RCP. Control V. Zoom into this corner. And this becomes a 4. Reflected ceiling plan. Oh, there it is. Reflected ceiling plan. There we go. Okay, so there we go. That's everything. That's our title block and border. I think I'll leave it at that, and we'll do other minor topics in another video. But before I go, this is what you should have now. You should have all of your tabs with the viewport showing that particular plan. Now, for some reason, my viewport's not big enough, so I gotta increase it. And when you click on each tab, you should have a title block that is appropriate to that plan. All right, that's it for now.